Have you ever been deeply moved in your life? Not just moved because you heard some moving story or a piece of music and it was very touching, but moved to the point that you began to do something that you would never have done otherwise, but you were so deeply moved that it just prompted you to move in a direction that was really unnatural for you to move in, or to speak in a very open way that you maybe have never expressed yourself before because of this deep feeling. That's someone who's deeply moved, and that is the experience of what happened right before the Jews received the Torah and this week's Torah portion of Yisro. The Zohar says a very interesting statement. It says that Jethro, that's the father-in-law of Moshe, of Moses, he came to visit the Jewish people when they were in the desert. And his visit to the Jewish people was necessary prior to the Jewish people receiving the Torah. That was necessary to happen before they received the Torah, according to those opinions that he visited, in fact, before receiving the Torah. What was the significance of Yisro's visit? That it was necessary before the Jews received the Torah. In fact, Yisro is known before he actually became a Jew, when he visited the Jewish people and converted to Judaism. He was known to be not just an idolater, but a priest of idols, and in fact was known to have worshipped every single idol in the world. He tried out every single religion in the world that there was at that time. He was an outsider to the Jewish people. He wasn't like in the family, and we needed his visit before God gives us the Torah, the most monumental moment in Jewish history. What is the Zohar telling us? The Zohar is telling us a very powerful idea. You see, the Torah portion begins with these two words, Vayishma Yisro, and Yisro heard. And Rashi, the commentary, discusses, what did he hear? He heard, and then he came. Because of what he heard, he was moved so deeply that he actually came to join the Jewish people. What was it that he heard, Rashi says? He heard about the splitting of the sea, and he heard about the war with Amalek. The first idea here is that Yisro demonstrated to the Jewish people that when we believe in something, it has to have such a deep impact on us that it moves us. If what we do is ritualistic and it doesn't move us, then even though what we may be doing is true and is what we should be doing, but it has not become one with us yet, and therefore it doesn't move us. How do we know something becomes one with us, an idea, a belief, a philosophy is one with us? When we are moved by it, where our being just flows with it because we cannot do anything otherwise. This is the power of Yisro's visit to the Jewish people, that he heard about the splitting of the sea, he heard about the war of Amalek, and he was so deeply moved, even though he was entrenched in so many other beliefs, he could do nothing other than to actually come. And that was a tremendous statement to the Jewish people, because here's an outsider who heard what they experienced, and it moved him so deeply that he had to join the ranks. In fact, the deeper significance of the splitting of the sea, which is one of the two things that he heard which prompted him to come, is that mystically, spiritually, we know that dry land and the sea represented two different realms in our lives. The dry land is what we would call the revealed world. On dry land, you see everything that's there. Everything is open and revealed. However, you also have a hidden world. The hidden world is represented by the sea, because the water in a sea completely hides anything that's deep down in the sea. You can't see the fish. You don't see any of the vegetation. You see nothing of the sea. We call it, in mystical terms, the Alma de Iskasia, the hidden world. And we all have a revealed world and a hidden world in our own reality. We all have that part of us which we show up with every single day. But then we have that deeper part of us which maybe was never even uncovered yet. That is the hidden world, of our own world. And the splitting of the sea is the idea that someone has an experience or brings themselves to a place where they split their sea and they discover their inner self, their hidden world, which is the most powerful and the deepest part of our being. This is in English. When we say that someone is showing up, this is the real definition, the fullest, we'll say, definition of showing up, when your deepest self shows up. But our deepest selves cannot show up unless our sea is split, unless our inner being is brought out. And very often, most often, our inner being is brought out through something that shocks our system. And suddenly it awakens a deep part of us. And when that part of us is awakened, it's like the lion from within that roars. Nothing can shut it down. Nothing can stop it once that is awakened. That's what happened with Yisro. And what Yisro was demonstrating to the Jewish people is that this is what needs to happen with each and every one of you. And, very often we wonder why it is that when we are educating our youth or our own children, it just doesn't transfer over. Sometimes it doesn't transfer over. The greatest remedy to that problem, not a guaranteed remedy, because a lot of it has to do with our child or and the youth or wherever they're at. But the greatest that we can bring to make it most opportune for our children to follow in our footsteps is when our children see that our behavior, our beliefs, our commitments are coming from a very deep place, from this very deep place of inspiration within us, which is so powerful that we show up and they can feel it and see it in the way we are doing what we do. When we show up that way, that will do more for our children than all of the speeches in the world, than all of the philosophy, than all of the ideas. It's about how we show up that has the greatest impact on the people around us.